Pines, and I'm back from sunny and warm Florida. I know what you're thinking. While you were all dealing with the cold and the rain, all I was doing in Florida was working on my tan and playing golf. Guess what? You're right, I was. So after playing golf 5 days a week and smoking cigars, it suddenly hit me, the high cost of cigars. They keep going up, which means you, my customers, have to pay more. So while smoking more cigars along with my favorite bourbon, I lost my mind and decided to offer my own COVID stimulus package. I've lowered all the prices on every cigar in the humidor. That's right, every cigar, even the bundle cigars. Joe Biden and the Democrats have nothing on the smoke-in when it comes to cutting costs and stimulating sales. So what are you waiting for? A third round of stimulus? The next election? Or worse yet, another impeachment? Get on down to the Smoke-In in Southern Pines for a great place to buy a cigar, smoke a cigar, and meet cigar smokers just like yourself. The Smoke-In, where the customer comes first.
You look out the window. It's dark. You lock the doors. Maybe you set an alarm. You take every precaution. Do whatever it takes to keep your home safe. But it's not. In fact, termites may be destroying your home right now. You may not see them. You may not hear them. But by the time you see the damage termites cause, it may be too late. So don't wait, because now there is something new. Introducing Termidor, the unique treatment that wipes out 100% of the termites in your home in 3 months or less. They'll never see it coming. But you can't get it from any store. So ask for Termidor by name from your pest control company. Because if you're not asking for Termidor, you're asking for trouble.
Termidor is available at Aberdeen Exterminating. Call 944-2474. For service, that's 944-2474.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is brought to you by Quality Built Homes, the Sandhills' #1 home builder, developer, and remodeler. With over 1,500 homes built in Moore County, we earn our name every day. Quality Built Homes, 910-944-7453.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. When I was a little kid, my dad said something like, "Go mow the lawn, son," it would never have occurred to me to say something like, "Father, when I voted for you to be my dad, I certainly expected you to do what I wanted you to do. I'm afraid that me mowing is not in that category." Well, if I was lucky, my dad might have responded with, "Son, you didn't get a vote for me as your dad. You don't get one now, so get your skinny," I know it's hard to believe, "butt out there and mow." If I could have voted for a dad, I'd have voted for my dad. He was great. Now we have senators, representatives, board members, including school, county, city, village, town. They're not our parents. We did get a vote. We voted for the person we felt will conduct business the way we wanted them to, not the way they felt was best. I'd like for them all to start doing their job, not that some aren't. We have way too many local rules and regulations we have to adhere to in order to conduct everyday business. Let the homeowners decide what they want to do with their own land. We all know there are boundaries you don't cross, even on your own land. You don't put a shelter for heroin addicts in a shed on your front yard unless if your neighbors want you to and you want to. It's all right, I get it. The whole thing of the government knows best is out of control. We elected these people. I'll have a whole lot more to say later on the Zumwalt Zone.
Today, showers early will gradually clear by this afternoon. We are going to see milder highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Overnight will be dry. We could even see clouds break apart. Our temperatures will fall into the low to mid 50s. For tomorrow, it's going to be even warmer with highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. A few areas to the south could see readings in the lower 80s, but showers are going to return by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us. You know what today is, right?
Please, enlighten me.
It is National Cocktail Day.
Who wants a cocktail?
Is it too early for a drink?
No, it's a little early for me.
You guys like to party?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Perhaps you'd like to partake in the party?
Why not celebrate early?
It's too early.
Today is National Cocktail Day, so you have an excuse.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Happy National Cocktail Day.
Showtime.
Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It's time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond. Good morning, Colonel. Wait a minute, there you... Hang on, there we go. Somebody play with my board.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. Good morning, unfortunate pilot. Hey, Freedom Matters. That's a group of people that are a little concerned about this garbage that Governor Cooper has, perpetrated upon us, closures and masks and all this other kind of thing. They're having a meeting, just a social gathering, 5:30, March 26th. That's this Friday at the Rail House Brewery in Aberdeen. That's on South Street in Aberdeen. So if you're of that ilk and you're tired of this stuff that the governor has done to us illegally, he's not following the procedures that were implemented. Yeah, not following the legislation that was passed in this regard, then show up and they have some things for you that you might want to consider.
Haven't you heard? He's a Democrat. He gets the right to rewrite the Constitution.
Yeah, he does whatever he wants. That's a fact.
He is privileged. Also, don't forget, of course, we are being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream, which is actually up and running right now. That's available to you at talk973.com or talk1041.com or weeb990.com. Any of the web pages will get you to where we're going to. I should say the front page of the website will get you where you want to go video-wise. If you're looking for the audio, well, let me first finish up the video. If you're on a mobile device, want video, you got to fire up YouTube and put Mornings with the LeaderMan in the search, and LeaderMan, one word, all spelled like it sounds. And then if you're just looking for audio, you can get that off of the mobile device by using a streaming app such as TuneIn, iTunes, or Streamer. All those work. And just put WEEB in the search. And if you're on our website, it's available to you in the upper right-hand corner of any of our web pages where the icon says On the Air Listen Live. Click that once, and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area is still going to be on the cloudy side. For today, mostly cloudy. Maybe an itty-bitty chance of an isolated shower. I had some of that last night and this morning. Look for a high of 72 today. Wow. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 55. Thursday, partly cloudy, no mix of rain, 79 for a high. And get this for Friday, partly cloudy, isolated showers, and a high of 83. That's 83 degrees. Plus a 20% chance of getting wet. For the weekend, partly cloudy Saturday. That means some sunshine. High of 78. Sunday, back to a 60% chance for showers. Otherwise, partly cloudy, 76. And kick off your work week Monday, Sunday with a high of 64. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds in north-northwest at 1. Pressure is 2979. 2.56, humidity 96%. It's cloudy and 58 degrees currently here
at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is, don't try that at home, boys and girls. I am a professional, and radio's my life. It is, what is it, 8:36, 36 past the hour. We're late to get to the Zoom All Zone this morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Steve and the Colonel and everybody else. And I am not a professional, so don't expect a whole lot out of me. I just made an instant decision about 30 seconds ago that I want to talk about the Colonel a little bit. Now, I've known the Colonel for several years, and I know what a good guy he is. He's funny, he's generous, he'd do anything for anybody. And I mean that. He's always the first one to volunteer for hard work, to help with a project. But if you just listen to him on the radio, I was driving in this morning, I thought that is the crankiest guy I have ever met in my life. And when you're more cranky than the LeaderMan, you are cranky. So,
well, you don't know a little backstory there. I was trying to, I'm having back problems right now. It's a little hard for me to lift things and move things along. And I asked the Colonel if he could get Nick. Nick was in the front yard, and bring him over here. And he said, sure. Being the generous guy you were just talking about, he goes out there and gets him. And then he looks down at his shirt, and there's a big spot of water. It turned out to be urine on his shirt. And I said, well, you want another shirt? He says, no, I'll just wait till I get home. And that's the kind of guy he is.
That's the kind of guy he is. So
that probably made him.
Don't let him fool you on the radio. And he, anyway, he's a pretty big guy. So if you hear a thud, it's him knocking me out of this chair. I want to say happy birthday, happy birthday. Steve talked about it. Annie Mae Hancock White. Congratulations, you're 100 years old. She said her secret to life, the long life, was
actually it's 101.
101. Wow. Wow. When I'm only 30 years behind you, Annie Mae. But she said the secret is to treat people right and to love the Lord. Now, if treating people right is part of it, Colonel, you'll be dead in a month. But no, I'm very sincere about that. Happy birthday. Oh, there's so much to talk about in the news. Got to mention this. When Biden was vice president, when Pence was vice president, they used to salute the Marine Guard at Air Force Two. Vice President Harris has decided apparently that she's not going to salute these Marines, the Marines who guard her, and
the Air Force people too at the foot
and the Air Force people. Yeah. But the article, definitely the Air Force people, and the article I read was about the Marines.
Yes.
Blatant disrespect, no excuse for it. I don't care how you feel about the military. All right, I want to talk about racism. So much to talk about there, so much. There's a big little motto, I guess it is, going around: Stop Asian Hate. Stop Asian hate. Now, let me say this. Of course, there are fools in this world and in this community who hate or dislike or don't just particularly care for Asians. And there are people who don't care for Caucasians and black people. And we know that if you're a minority, there is no question that from time to time, there are people who are rude to you just because of your race. And I know in one case, when the Tea Party was active, there was a fellow who came to our meetings, and Miriam Chu kicked him out, and she did so for good reason. He was very much a racist, and he hated everybody, including Asians.
I remember that guy.
Yeah.
It took me a second. Yeah, he was a clown.
He was a clown. And hear the Colonel talking, because the Colonel is like me and like the LeaderMan. We are normal people. And normal people are not racist, which brings me to the horrible, terrible Boulder massacre. Now, all the liberals just don't get it. They don't understand. They don't get what you're saying when you talk about this kind of thing. So if you are a conservative and you hear a liberal talking about these things, first of all, why are you talking to them? And second, maybe you can explain to them that we all, every single one of us, mourn for every victim of every murder and every single mass shooting that's ever occurred. the Congresswoman Omar, the one that's from Mogadishu, the one that should be anybody from any country that came to America and decided to settle here, because this is a wonderful nation, a great nation, the greatest nation on earth, and we should all be very proud to say that. We'll try and make it better, but it's a great nation. Representative Omar said that race always is a factor in these things. She, at very first, when she heard about this shooting, by the way, it was I'm going to mess his name up, but I'm not going to do it on purpose. Ahmad Alawi Alisa. And he is a Muslim. And that makes a difference. Now, does it make a difference because I hate Muslims? No, that is ridiculous. And you need to get that out of your head. And you need to start facing the truth. We are under attack by racist Muslims. Yes, that's right. They hate us. They will tell you in a heartbeat, talk to them, that that they do not like Jews. They do not like Christians. They've conducted attack after attack after attack after attack. They made Representative Omar's life living hell when she was in Mogadishu. In fact, she had to get out. So if we're going to talk about racist white shootings, and we should, if they do it because they're racist, I say put them in jail, give them the death penalty, whatever they deserve under the law. But we've got to quit beating around the bush on this stuff. When she first heard about this, she said, well, the police did not kill him because he was a white man. You get a special deal when you're a white man. Is there anyone out there? Is there anyone out there who is stupid enough to believe that when a man is inside of a store shooting and killing people, that the police are going to look at him and say, oh, don't kill him, he's white? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But they've always, always, always got to make it about race.
He had already killed a cop, too.
He'd already killed a police officer. That's right. There's no way they're going to give him a break. They did what the right thing to do under the law was, even though it was probably very, very difficult for them to hold back. They could have killed him, and no one would have ever said another word about it. Now, I'm talking about, when I talk about Muslims, I am not talking about a person who loves Allah and believes that we all should live together, and then we should. I'm talking about the guys like this guy who have been brainwashed and want to go in a place and kill people. And if you think, how can you possibly deny this? And if you can, come on the radio, we'll debate it. There was let's get back to this Stop Asian Hate. And I tell you right now, if you hate Asians, don't try to be my friend. I don't want anything to do with you. I think you're an idiot. Or if you hate anybody else because of your race, whether you're black or white or Asian. There was an Asian woman robbed on her way home the other day, and there's a video going around. And I saw the video is posted on the internet, and you can watch it. A guy went by and tried to rob her of her purse. He was in a car, and she reached in the window and tried to hang on to her purse, probably because she doesn't have a lot of money, and she probably needed everything that was in her purse. So he drove off, and she was hanging out the window, and the video shows her falling into the street. And what I thought was really bad was there was a car waiting to get around her while she was being robbed, and then after she fell out on the street and was slammed down, the car went around her instead of helping her. Now, do you actually think this was not a mugging, this was not a shooting, this was not a knifing, this was a robbery? Do you actually think that these crooks go to a person and say, well, this guy or this girl is an Asian, so I think I'll rob her? These are targets of opportunity, and for someone just to flat out, without any evidence, start calling racism is wrong, and we shouldn't do it. If you think all this is something, or even if you don't, wait till you hear this. Now, I want liberals to pay attention, because first of all, you make me sick if you're a liberal, because this is the kind of stuff that you believe. There's something going around called critical race theory. It's the newest thing. Oh my goodness, wait till you hear this. Not so much what it is, but wait till you hear what's happening with it. Critical race theory. It's a view that every single law and legal institution and our schools, among many others, are inherently racist, and that race itself is a society-constructed concept used by white people to further white people political, economical, and et cetera. at the expense of people of color. So the critical race theory says that there's a institutional racism, and then it's on purpose, and it's at the expense of people of color so that we can do better. Now, here's the bad part. Oh, come on, don't tell me. It's in my notes here, and I really want you to hear this, but I can't find it. I must have left it on another page. Let me just tell you what I do remember. On the 7th of April, at the Women's Republican Club meeting, luncheon, and it will be at CCNC. Now, see, some of you have already said, oh, Republican women, CCNC, they're probably a bunch of snobs. Well, no, they're not. And if you think they are, you're a snob. These are some of the best women, biggest, most, I should say, strongest backbones. I don't want to say biggest backbones, I'll be in trouble. But the strongest backbones, they stand up for what is right. And they'll be having a speaker on the 7th that's going to talk about this and how it's been taught in our, it was being taught to teachers. And there was a 6-week course on why they should remove anything to do with a white person from their curriculum, why they should remove anything that had to do with Christianity from their curriculum, and many, many more things. And when you hear this lady, you're going to be knocked out. She is wonderful. She does a great job, and she'll be a guest at the Women's Republican Luncheon on the 7th of April. Get online and please and sign up for it. And by the way, I'll be a speaker there as well. But go to see her, and that way when you're disappointed in me, you'll be glad you went. I want to talk about the homeless people in Los Angeles. And by the way, I've lost a whole page of my notes, but I want to talk about the homeless people in Los Angeles. Now get this. The park that the city of Los Angeles built for, I forget what it cost, like $3-4 million. A park they built for people to enjoy, to go to with their children, with their kids. Well, of course, it's been taken over by the homeless people. This one guy named David Bush Lilly, I think that's how you pronounce it. He said he lived there in that park well, he lives there now. He said he's been homeless for 20 years. Now look, I'm as sympathetic, and I may not sound like it today because I'm really hacked, but I'm as sympathetic as anyone, and I understand that someone could lose their home, they could be homeless. I get that. Any one of us at any time could be hit by tragedy and find ourselves without an income, without home. That could happen to anyone. So yes, I'm very sympathetic to that. But buddy, if you've been homeless for 20 years and expect me to take care of you, you were barking up the wrong tree. I might help you get a job, and there's no excuse for anyone to be homeless 20 years unless there is something. Well, no, there's no excuse for it because there's help out there. There's all kinds of help. Well, he said he got moved into this park, and he's angry, by the way, because they're closing it down. He said, well, look, this is not right. I've been homeless 20 years, and this felt like a retreat. Well, for one thing, if you're 20 years homeless, what are you doing going to a retreat? I mean, I'd love to be able to go to a retreat for 20 years, somebody pay for it. Who do you think you are? He said, well, they've offered us if we wanted to go to a hotel, but he didn't want to do that. So this homeless guy has been offered to go to a hotel, and it has had many others, and there are bus loads apparently taking these people out of the park to a hotel, but they don't want to go. They don't want to go. I can't even go on vacation and get a free hotel, much less be homeless and get a free hotel. So maybe if you call Los Angeles, if you think you're going out there, and why you would, I do not know. But if you're going out there, don't tell them you need to reserve a hotel. Just tell them you're homeless and you'd like to be put up. Okay, they're closing this park down, but here's the thing. They're not closing it down permanently. Oh, it was a $45 million park, by the way. $45 million they paid for this park. Can you imagine? They're going to close it down for a brief time because they've got to do $500,000 worth of repairs. So they're going to have to move the homeless people out. $500,000 worth of repairs to a park. What can happen to a park that requires $500,000 worth of repairs? So they're moving them out. And here's something too that's remarkable. These homeless people, they gather together, they live in these makeshift, I won't even call them a tent, just junk, cardboard stuff, and some of them have plastic draped over thing. And you know what? They have lived together for years in these places. And you know, there's no spread of COVID. They don't wear masks. They're not distancing themselves, and not one word from the mayor, from the governor, from anyone about these people, because they dare not say anything, because these people wouldn't put up with it. You know how I know they wouldn't put up with it? Because they're already going to have a protest. There's a protest scheduled by the homeless because they're being forced to move out of this park while they repair it, and they take them to a hotel. Now look, what has happened to us? The biggest thing is not that the homeless people are going to have a protest because they're going to move them out into a hotel and then move them back into a place that's nicer and cleaner. The biggest thing about this is that we're all not going crazy over it, that Los Angeles is not saying, why would we ever put up with this? But they don't, just business as usual. Now, you might ask, John, JD, why do you care? This is Los Angeles. Well, I'll tell you exactly why I care, because it's our money. Biden has sent money to the city of Los Angeles, specifically thanks to Nancy Pelosi, San Francisco, and also the state of California. Who do you think's paying this $500,000 and tons of other money? It's us. It's eventually us. Let's talk about this is not the United States, it's in Canada, but I had to talk about it. This kills me. In Canada, all right, I'm going to ask Steve and the Colonel. I probably need to slow down a little bit because I got worked up over this. But I'm going to ask Steve and the Colonel, and I want you to be reasonable. Don't just go crazy on this. And because you know it's going to be quite a bit. In a park in Canada, they've built a bathroom. Now picture the bathrooms at our park. How much do you think this bathroom costs? Everybody out there guessed too. Well, they guess
Hundreds of thousands at least. Sure.
Well,
how big is it?
I don't know. Let's just say.
I mean, a simple facility, say 2 or 3 toilets, et cetera,
Yeah.
you know, several $100,000 is what it should cost, but you know.
Well, it costs. It's apparently, even in Canada, they're getting outraged, but it costs $645,000.
Yeah.
And
way too much. Yeah.
It's got graffiti-proof walls.
Sure.
Yeah. Wait till the nuts hear about this challenge.
Yeah.
Well, they do have things like that. They have them on the subways in New York and stuff to keep the graffiti down. Well, they can just wipe it off is what they can do.
I mean, if you know what, you build this thing for $100,000, I'll come by and wipe off the graffiti or spray paint over it. But I guess you guys don't think it's as big a deal as I do.
No, that 600,000. Like I said, I could see a couple $100,000 depending on number of facilities, etc. But 600,000, yeah, that's for a park. No,
well, we're not really surprised because it is government,
and it's Canada too.
And that's why you're not. That's why you're not surprised. And it's a shame that we're not surprised. It's the toilets. Here's another challenge.
Uh-oh.
But the toilets are. You ready for this? Virtually indestructible.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Kind of like the park director who's been under a lot of heat for spending this much money because he had like $1 million grant, and that's why he spent it.
Sure, that's exactly it. Yeah.
He said, just think of this as a tank, like an army tank of toilets. I mean, that's how folks think. When I said, of course he spent that money, if you give a government agency $1 million grant or $100 grant, they'll spend it. They'll spend it on something. Now, I'm going to run out of time, but I want to go back and clarify what I said about Muslims. I've got more time living, eating, spending my time sleeping in the same areas with Muslims than probably 99.9% of you out there listening do. Well, there's a lot of military here, a lot of special forces guys, so they do the same thing. We train these guys. I lived with them for months. We had separate tents, but we all lived in the same part of the desert. And they would tell me, we would talk, and when we got to know them, they would be very frank. And they would just flat tell me. Well, I asked them, and I spoke a little bit of Arabic, and we managed to get by. what would you talk to me? Would you hang out with me if we were not in the military and training to fight the Iraqis? And they would flat tell me, no, not at all. You're a Christian. So as we talked, I got to know them, and they told me that the number one thing that they hated as Muslims were the Jews. This was their words. I didn't make this up. Actually, I guess the number one thing they hate is a Muslim who's converted to Judaism or Christianity. And then the number two were Jewish people, and the number three were Christians. And
homosexuals and other perverts and deviants fall in there somewhere too.
They do, unless you are one. Right. And I could talk about their views on that, but you're exactly right. And so liberals, if you're offended by the very real, factual talk about the Muslim community, the ones of I should say the terrorists that hate us so much, and you can't say terrorists, you can't say Muslim, you can't say anything. But if all of you liberals out there who are, oh my goodness, we need to support these people, we need to not be mean to them. I agree with you. I'm not saying go out and attack a Muslim person. I'm saying that don't be so quick to just point a finger and say, oh, it's a white guy, and that's why they didn't kill him. And when you hear about a Muslim, especially want to spend time, where was he? Syria? He spent time?
Yeah, he was born in Syria.
And was often talking about his Muslim faith, and people had reported him. He was on the FBI's screen. They knew about him. Don't be so quick to just say, well, we can't say it was Islamic terrorism.
Well, he's now using the excuse that Islamophobia, he was bullied.
He was bullied because Islamophobia.
Which is a lie.
And if you go out and show racism against an Islamic person, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. You need to get help. But understand it for what it is and be ready to point the finger. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I think my time's just about up.
All right, and so it goes for this Wednesday Hump Day. Have yourself a great, safe day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow for a Thumping Thursday. Until then, be sure to support all the advertisers you hear on WEEB. Why? Because they work here, too. They live and make their living here from buying from everybody else. So let's all be our own economic solution. Buy local and watch the economic recovery grow. And don't forget also, by the way, be sure to tell them WEEB asked you to come, because that helps us. And don't forget also that millions of Americans have fought, they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. Live today worthy of their and their family sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams and the LeaderMan, and Nick and Colt the dog. We'll all see you this afternoon at the Cloudy Dog Park.